Palantir has done just about everything right. Their income is up, they're debt-free, they're sitting on cash, they're cash flow positive, their operating expenses are down, they're growing the business year over year, and yet the price slides. Now, we talked about this in multiple videos. I want to talk about something that nobody else is talking about, so be sure to watch this whole video because there's going to be a lot of information here. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. Corey here. If you guys are enjoying the videos, be sure to subscribe and tap the bell. This way you know when I post new videos. You can also give me a thumbs up as it greatly helps the channel grow. If you guys want to sign up for the free newsletter, link right there on the screen or in the information box below. The first 100 people that sign up on this video are going to get not only the tips and strategies and updated news delivered directly to their email box. You're also going to get free trade alerts. So be sure to sign up to the email newsletter. High five, guys. We've been making a killing in profits last couple of weeks. Look there on the screen. You guys can see everybody's making money with me. We're going to keep making juicy premium. So be sure to sign up for that free newsletter. Palantir is up from 17 million in total revenue from Q1 last year to 106 million. Operating profit up 81%. PE ratio from 200 to a forward-looking PE ratio of 53. General administrative from 36% down to 30%. They're scaling and getting better and more profitable. What happens if things get worse? Interest hikes? No problem. Palantir has no debt. The war is going on. Bad geopolitics. Israel and Iran. They have government contracts to make up for bad macros in the commercial space. Good macros, no geopolitical issues, no issues in Israel and Iran. Ukraine war ceases to exist. They still got the commercial side of the business, which is now 50-50, up from 60-40 only a year ago. Institutions now hold 41.5%, up from 31% 1 year ago. Operating expenses are down 12%. My favorite, cash flow, 700 million in the positive versus negative 300 million 3 years ago. 21% revenue growth year over year versus 20% the previous quarter, 17% the previous quarter before that, and 13% the previous quarter before that one. Level of acceleration revenue growth is up from 13% to 21% year over year. Their top 20 customers are increasing their annual spending by 10% every year. Their net dollar retention is increasing year over year, and they're now at 111%. 82% gross margin and a 36% operating margin. Palantir grew their US customer base by 70% in 1 year. Palantir posted their guided earnings for May of 2024 to be 4.66 billion. Multiple analysts agree, and then there was a few others that estimated 4.68 billion. However, only days before earnings, there was some random unknown analyst that just went up to 3.2 billion and raised the bar by $400 million more than any of the other analysts, even the top ones that were estimating 2.68. So this random anonymous analyst just shows up out of nowhere only a few days before, raising the bar by $400 million on the expectations. So now the estimate or expectation is not 2.68 billion, it is 2.71 billion. When Palantir reported their earnings at 2.68 billion, they pretty much beat the estimates, all of them, except this random anonymous person, and that screwed Palantir because that's the only reason why they didn't beat the expectation, which caused people to start selling. Then algorithmic trading and bots started selling, and it was just cataclysmic, and it just dropped. This really sucks. So we discussed this in my previous video. I understand this, but there's a reason why I'm bringing all this up, to just give you guys the full picture before we dive in now to the reason that Palantir slid is because the system is rigged. It's rigged against Palantir. It's rigged against you. It's rigged against me. It's rigged against everyone. We know this. We understand this. When someone shows up days before earnings and then just raises the bar, seems a little weird to me. It's not coincidental. I want to touch base on some things I haven't discussed. This is really what this video is about. The purpose of this video is to discuss what I've got coming up now. The purpose of this video is to prove that fact that the system is rigged, because many people brought up the fact that Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel sold shares. This is irrelevant to what happened on earnings. Absolutely irrelevant, and I'm going to explain. So Peter Thiel is the co-founder of PayPal. Now, he sold 5 million shares on Friday, May the 10th, which has nothing to do with earnings, considering earnings was several days prior and the drop had already happened. So that theory is out the window that Peter Thiel caused the slide in the price because the price completely stopped sliding and dropping before Peter Thiel even sold his shares. And people are creating theories that Peter Thiel sold all his shares or most of them because he's afraid of the stock, because he's afraid of Palantir or the stock in general going to zero, or Palantir's going to fear. This is all nonsense. Peter Thiel, after he sold all these shares, still has 100 million shares. He sold like 5% of his holdings. Even when he sold these shares, and I'm going to show you on a chart in just a few minutes, even when he sold these shares, the price hardly dropped at all. It didn't even drop 10% of what had happened on earnings. That shows you if he sold 5 million shares and the price only dropped about 10 to 15% of what it did on earnings, how many shares were shorted on earnings? Alexander Moore also sold 20,000 Palantir shares twice, a couple of months back and then on May 1st. Nobody's talking about that, but it's not that big of a deal. Moore owns 1.6 million shares even after the sale of his 40,000 shares. You really have to diversify your portfolio. This is the reason why Peter Thiel probably sold the shares, because his portfolio, as you can see from the images that are on the screen, Peter Thiel has like a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars invested in his stocks, and it's 98% Palantir. It is not safe to have $200 million invested into one company, even if you work for the company or own the company. That's silly. That's nonsense. There's a likely chance he's diversifying his portfolio. Maybe he has an expense for his family. Just because you have $200 million invested in a company and you're making a few $1,000,000 a year doesn't mean you have the cash on you. Maybe his company somewhere else needed help. Maybe his investments needed help. Maybe he needed the cash to buy a house. Maybe he's diversifying and expanding his portfolio and making it safer and hedging positions. But either way, anyone out there who's trying to lie to you even more by saying, well, Peter Thiel sold shares, so the stock went down. That's incorrect. The stock slid 15%. Peter Thiel sold his shares days later, and even after he sold 5 million shares, which is over $103 million, $103 million, and the price barely went down. So what do you think happened on earnings? Do you see what I'm saying? This has nothing to do with Peter Thiel. This is a screw job. This is an absolute travesty. It's rigged. The market is just rigged. That's exactly what it is. Someone's playing with fire and shorted the stock and manipulated it. An anonymous person should not be allowed, or an anonymous analyst should not be allowed to put their 2 cents on anything. There should be a name attached to any estimate or expectation or review on any asset that has value every single time. This anonymous crap is exactly what it is. Crap. Looks like crap, smells like crap. It's crap. Peter Thiel also sold over 6 million shares on March 12th, valued at over $134 million, and the price dropped less than 80 cents and recovered the following day. So for the stock to drop the way it did on earnings, it couldn't even match Peter Thiel's 2 separate sales of over $200 million worth of shares. If you add up the move from both of those sales, it doesn't add up to what happened on earnings. One word, rigged. And I'll show you a graph right now to prove exactly what I'm talking about. There you go, guys. Look at this. Peter Thiel shows you how many final shares he has. Guy's got $2 billion worth of shares. Right here, Peter Thiel owns almost 100 million shares worth over $2 billion. Look at Peter Thiel's portfolio. 97% Palantir. Who puts $2 billion into a portfolio and it's 97% the same company? That is the most insane thing ever. It's okay to believe in the stock, but you have to diversify a little bit, wouldn't you say? So Peter Thiel selling his shares, nothing to do with this. Again, another graph showing you what's going on with the shares and Peter Thiel, $2 billion worth. And as of Friday, May 10th, after the sale, still had 100 million shares left just about. Let's show you on a graph, and we're going to measure this. So March 12th, he sold 6 million shares over $130 million. That's right here. See the date at the bottom of the screen? Friday, March 12th. There you go. There's about $1 move. And look, it recovered. Downward trend. It caused a downward trend. So if we ultimately want to measure this twice, and I'm sure other people were selling too, it fully recovered. Now, okay, so now we're going to come over to earnings. This is the immediate candle that Peter Thiel caused when he sold $123 million worth of shares, over 6 million shares. We're going to make this bigger so you guys can see it. Perfect. Look at the difference. Let's measure the difference. You see what I'm talking about? Let me change the color this week and match it up. Peter Thiel is going to be the purple one right there. We'll do blue. There we go. Look at the blue. This blue is the sell-off, and this purple is Peter Thiel's $6 million shares or $5 million shares. So this blue stick right here, that's how big the drop is. $5 drop versus Peter Thiel's $1 drop. So if Peter Thiel sold $123 million worth over 5 million shares, look how big that blue line is. Look at the difference. And we're going to sit here and just act like there wasn't something crazy going on. This is 5 million shares. And it would take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there was like 20 million shares shorted. They said Peter Thiel sold his shares on May 10th. That's correct. But the earnings was on May 6th. See, May 6th. And he sold his shares over here. So again, Peter Thiel sold 5 million shares on May 10th. And look at the drop. Now, just as a measurement, let's bring the stick here that we measured on earnings. Right at the top, we measured it up. Look where that blue line goes. If we would have dropped the same way when Peter Thiel sold his 5 million shares, Palantir would have ended up at $16. So not only did his selling happen 4 days after the drop and over a month prior to the drop, 2 months prior to the drop, it was nowhere near the same level of drop. We've debunked the theory that anything Peter Thiel has done has anything to do with the earnings drop. So again, all the proof, all the evidence in this video, it's shorted, it's rigged, and you shouldn't be able to give an analyst rating anonymously. That makes no sense. What do you guys think? I think this is rigged. They're fear-mongering. They're letting the market slip. They're trying to create slippage and gap fill the stock. Whatever it is they're trying to do to short it down. They're not going to hold Palantir down because of all the facts I put in the beginning of this video. It's insane. And I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse in a lot of these videos, but I believe in the stock and the truth needs to get out there. And people are talking about Peter Thiel. Well, guess what? Peter Thiel has absolutely nothing to do with what happened on earnings. Nothing. The movement was so cataclysmic on earnings. It was like 6 to 8 times the move of Peter Thiel's sell-off. And then even more beyond that. This is rigged and it's very unfortunate, but I wanted to bring this video to you guys just in case you thought that any of the things you heard were true. They're not. Peter Thiel's sell-off had nothing to do with it. And it was probably a personal matter or diversifying a portfolio. I teach that to all my students. You do not want more than 10% or 20% of your portfolio in any one stock. So why would Peter Thiel have $2 billion and just have one stock? It makes no sense even if he is the co-founder. So none of this to me is alarming at all. If Peter Thiel had sold 75 million shares, that may have been a problem. He sold 12 million shares or 11 million shares over the course of 3 months, 6 million in March, 5 million in May, and still has 100 million shares or 99 million shares. So no, it's not scary because he still has 95% of his holdings. He only sold 5%. And he split it up into 2 transactions. So that is absolutely not scary at all. Can I prove it? No, I have no proof for a fact this is what's going on. But what we can say is that based on the evidence I've shown in this video, it's safe to say that that random analyst who is anonymous did this and that it's rigged. It's like 80-90% likely. I mean, that's what it seems like, right? All the proof is here. The one thing we do know for sure is it has nothing to do with Peter Thiel. We debunked that theory because his sales happened after and way before earnings, like months before. And we saw the 2 different moves. They don't add up. So it is what it is. The fear mongering, the greed, the manipulation, the shorting needs to stop. I cannot wait for a short squeeze like AMC or GameStop just to crush and fry these shorts out of Palantir for good because I believe in the stock. It's going up and I can't wait for the S&P inclusion. It's going to be amazing. And we're going to be collecting so much juicy premium, selling covered calls, and we're going to be going up and our portfolios are going to be going up when the stock goes up. It's just going to be awesome, but we're not going to let them control us and we're not going to let them confuse us or mislead us down deserted road with no answers. That's not going to happen because all the answers are right here in this video. We know the truth and it has nothing to do with Peter Thiel. So I just want to help you guys to relax. It's all good. Peter Thiel sold shares. Not a big deal. It's less than 5%. Got all the facts out there for you so you guys don't have to worry. Appreciate you guys being here. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, tap the bell, give me a thumbs up as it helps the channel grow. Got an offer for you guys for the first 100 people to sign up for my newsletter right there on the screen in the information box below is going to not only get tips and strategies right to their email for free, you're going to get free trade alerts. High five to everyone who's getting my trade alerts right now. We're making bank on Upstart, Rivian, SoFi, Sound, even Palantir right now. And also to let you guys know, I've got a full training course coming for all new traders. If you guys are interested in that, email me at Corey@investwithcorey.com and sign up for the free newsletter. I'm going to take care of all of you guys to teach you all the strategies to become profitable in the market. And don't worry, don't be sad. I know this video's over, but if you want to see another great video on how I turned $13,000 into 7 figures and how trading changed my life after divorce, the video's right there. Click it. You guys are going to love the story and understand exactly what I went through on my journey to 7 figures. Take care of yourselves.